Welcome, Enneagram 2, to Finding Calm in Chaos. The world is crazy, but you don't have to be. In this episode, I want to talk about what it might be feeling like as an Enneagram 2, how you experience chaos and stress and a world that feels so unpredictable and divisive. I want to talk about what happens in the body, in your emotions. I'd like to give you a couple of things to be aware of, just a couple little cautions, and remind you how to use your gifts in the world when we need you so much. Finally, I'll give you 4 simple ways that you can care for your soul, your mind, your body, and help you really ground into finding calm in a chaotic world. This is 9 in 9, Enneagram Wisdom for Life. I'm Jen Stanley. Let's dive in. As an Enneagram 2, you are driven to find and promote loving human connection. Your values of generosity, love, compassion, connection, they are such a gift. But this world is lacking in loving human connection right now. And that is a very heavy weight for you to carry. It's what you long for most, and it's very possible that some of the loving human connections, even in your own life, your own tribe, are being threatened right now with different political views or different mindsets on how the world should work. I know that as an Enneagram 2, if you could rid the world of anything, you would rid the world of pain, of suffering, and of loneliness. And again, there's an abundance of this going on in the world right now. It's interesting because this longing that you feel, that you sense, it actually has an impact in the body. Enneagram 2s are likely to have a heavy heart, a heavy feeling in the chest that causes like shallow breathing. And even Enneagram 2s report having like aching shoulders and backs and arms. And it almost feels like this longing is very much embodied in this heart center. Emotionally, you're probably feeling overwhelmed. You're probably feeling, this phrase we call empathy obligation, where you feel obligated to have empathy and help all the people that are suffering and hurting, not just in your small world, but in the world beyond you and the world that you see on the news. And that can be extremely overwhelming for such an empathetic person as you are. You're probably also experiencing a fear, or some would say a personal devastation around the relational fractures that might be happening in your world, or the rejection that you might sense if you don't agree with every person in your family on what they think should be happening right now. So there can be this anxiety and fear around the fact that the world is so divided. And this isn't a podcast about politics. It's just pointing out that we live in a divided world and in a divided country right now. And this can cause a lot of anxiety and fear, because with division, there's a risk of relational fracture. And finally, when a 2 is in a lot of stress, they move to their stress number, which is number 8. And as an 8, you experience like a rage and an anger, and everything just becomes too much. And so we see the 2 kind of break. They get to a breaking point where it just turns from love and compassion into like an uncontrollable anger or even rage at times. Hey, I just started this podcast and I am loving every minute of it. Would you do me a favor and follow along and also rate the show? I would appreciate that so much, so that we can help spread more Enneagram wisdom to the rest of the world. So 2s, I'd like to caution you about a few things. And the first is overextending yourself. It's this sense that you need to be there for everyone else. So this can lead to exhaustion, it can lead to sickness, it can lead to physical pain in your body. But this obligation that you feel to be there to help everyone is going to be too strong right now in a world where it does seem like everybody needs some help. I also want you to be aware of manipulation. Now, this is always something we're looking at with twos, about this unspoken expectation that you're going to get something in return. We want your gifts of service and help and love to be without expectation, because what that does is it just leads you to a place of disappointment. When you give with unspoken expectations, they are often not met, which can leave you feeling heartbroken. And then finally, I want you to be aware of depression, because it is feeling like a loveless world. And, for a two, a loveless world can be a hopeless world. And we don't ever want to go all the way to that point emotionally where we're losing or severing our human connections and relationships. We want to remain hopeful and know that love can exist, and it does exist even in a chaotic world. We so desperately need this gift of love and compassion and empathy. And twos, you are amazing advocates for marginalized communities, for people who are suffering, for people who are lonely. And so if you can advocate and be aware of these needs and bring them into the light for other people to join you in collaboration, to rally other people to get involved to meet a need, this is an amazing way as a two that you can impact the world. I don't want you to do it all on your own. Even if you could, it's so much better to collaborate as a two, to bring other people along with you so that you get to experience the human connection and that the people with you get to be involved in helping the most vulnerable in our communities. Okay, we're going to take a quick break because I want to let you know about an opportunity that I have for you. But when we get back, I'm going to give you 4 simple ways that you can care for your body, your soul, your mind, and you can find calm in a chaotic world. Hey, I've got a question for you. If this is resonating with you, but you're not exactly sure what to do with it, or you'd like to take another step, I'd love to talk to you. So you can book a call with me for free, and that link is in the comment section of this podcast. So just check it out. Let's chat. All right, welcome back. So twos, here are 4 simple ways that you can care for yourself and stay grounded and find calm in chaos. And the first is taking care of that aching, longing energy that is within the body. So one recommendation is to use a weighted blanket. And if weighted blankets aren't your thing, you can just take a soft, fuzzy, warm, comfortable blanket and just wrap yourself up in it. It's kind of like giving yourself the hug that you're longing for and that you need. Now, a very powerful question for a two to ask in times of chaos is, how can I trust that other people can handle this, that I don't have to do it all? How could I trust that other people can and will handle this? I don't have to do it all. Try to remember to ask yourself that question when you're becoming overwhelmed with how much there is to do in the world. An action that I would encourage you to take is to release one obligation. I want you to think about all the obligation that you feel on a daily basis or weekly, whatever it is for you, and let one go. Because if you will let go of the obligations that are wearing you out, tearing you down, it's going to make room for doing and serving in a way that's going to make an impact that really matters to you. And finally, the gratitude practice for an Enneagram 2. You guys know I really believe in this gratitude practice for all of my students and coaching clients. And the gratitude practice for the 2 is to be mindful and aware of all the people who love you and who love you well. You know, true love isn't fleeting, and there's an abundance of it in our lives. But sometimes we like to believe this story that we have to keep earning love from people. And so as a 2, I just would love for you to take some time and focus on the people who are the steady, there for you people who love you, not because of what you do, but just because of who you are.